In this video, I'm going to show you how to generate a quotation for a part, what it costs you to make it, and what to give to the customer. This room does require that your machines be set up, which is covered under another video, and I'll put the link to that video in the comment section. And so we're gonna go to our sample part. Company XYZ, sample part 123, and here is the sample part we've been working on. And here is the print for the part. You can see it's this piece of aluminum extrusion with drilled holes in it. And so we're gonna go over here to the engineering master. You can see that this needs a quote. It has no quotation on that. This needs a quote. This one already has one, but we'll edit it. And this needs a quotation. So this very first operation is to drill the 4 holes in the top surface. And so here we're drilling these 4 holes. So it's 4 holes drilled at 438 diameter. So we're gonna hit add quote. You can see it brings up cost per hour setup, cost per hour run, setup time, set of pieces required, number of people, amortized cost, which will spread the cost out over the quote. Then you have these series of questions here: edge finding, vice clamp, holes to drill, holes to countersink, tap, ring. All of these come from the machine file when you set up the machine CNC mill. So I'm gonna go over here and briefly look at that. So under Settings, Machine Setup, we're gonna choose the CNC mill. And we see that here it is. So this default of 1800 seconds, going back over here to the quote, you can see the 1800 seconds is pulled from the machine. That's the default that will always be pulled. Efficiency, cost per hours, and we'll cover most of this under the machine setup file. But what I wanted to show you was here's all the questions being asked in order to generate how many seconds does it take to make this part. And so you can see load time, edge finding, vice clamps. And when you go back over here to the quote, load time, edge finding, vice clamps. And so these questions and the criteria that it takes for you to generate how many seconds it takes to complete this operation at this machine is customizable and tailored to be able to be adjusted and created for your company and for your processes. And so whether it's a CNC mill or whether it's a sewing machine or whether it's spray painting, all of this is tailored to your company and we can help you get these things set up. So to this quotation, we are drilling these top 4 holes. We provided these inputs, and so we're gonna stay with the default runtime of 1800. No setup pieces required. So if I needed to make more pieces, I could charge for the setup pieces here on this operation if I wanted to. How many people it'll take to run this operation? The efficiency. So it'll reduce the runtime by 85% to 85%. The amortized cost is cost that's spread out over the quote. So if I put $100 here and I'm quoting 10 pieces, it would add $10 to each piece. This is good for tooling, shipping charges, and things like that. All right. So here's the questions I've set up in the machine file. We have 4 holes to drill. And I'll hit save. And you see that adds the time to the quote of 30 minutes setup time, 55-second run time. And so now we'll go down to the second operation, which was this side here, which is drilling 6 holes and reaming 1 with 4 tool changes. So I'll add this quote, and we're gonna drill 6 holes, ream 1 hole, and 4 tool changes. We'll save the quote. We could see that it has 30 minutes setup time, 1 minute and 67 seconds run time, and those setup pieces. The side profile number 2 is the opposite side of this, so it's the same of 6 holes to drill, 1 hole to ream, and 4 tool changes. At any time, you can come back and edit a quote. So I can hit edit quote and change that to 5 holes per drill. We can see the change in the time down to 1 minute and 51 seconds. Let's change that back to 6 holes. So now it's 1:67 seconds. Now we want to deburr. You'll notice that when I hit the deburr, the list of questions is different. Let's go back over here and look at the machines that's set up for deburr. So you can see here's all your defaults at the top, and then here is only one question that's being asked. And so that's why you only have this deburred time, but we're going to say it's going to take 2 minutes to deburr a part. And so now we have time on every one of these on all the operations. We also have the material price. It's $10 a piece. And so we're ready to generate a quote. So I'm going to go to quotes. And we're going to say it's Rev A, same description, and we're going to quote 1, 5, 10, and 100 pieces. The multiple quote reference will be covered under another video. So if you have contacts set up, you can select them here. This is our first one, so we're going to call this sample. We'll say John. John's sample. All right. So John's sample there. And we'll say he's a manager. And the phone number is. And his extension is 512. His email address is sample@. Sample. Company.com. The company name is going to be Sample Company. Address is 123 Sample Drive. And Sample City. And Sample State. Yeah. Let's put a state. We'll say Washington. Zip 12345. Phone number 55655655656. Fax 557. So this SG&A stands for Sales, General, and Administrative, and that's cover or that's set up in the company settings. The margin comes in at 25. That is set up under the customer defaults. That's in the video of how to create a customer. Material margin comes in at 25, set up in the customer default, sales rep from the customer default, sales rep commission. From the customer defaults. And if you want to add any lead time notes, you can add it. You can quick pick by dropping down or you can type it in here, such as it'll take 3 weeks to make the part or things like that. The exclude expiration, if you have it set up in your company settings that quotes are valid for 10 days, the quote will generate at the bottom and say this quote is valid until a certain date. You can exclude that by clicking that. If you want to add sales tax to it, the sales tax % is set up in your company files or your company settings. You can click that, and it will put the sales tax on it. Or if you decide that you're not quoting it, but you want to send the customer the RFQ, you can hit no quote and then type the reason you're not quoting it. These are quote specifications, so you can say, supplying. We'll just say manufacture the print. Complete. Or manufacturing the part. All right. So we've got all that filled in. We'll hit save quote and you'll see it'll generate the quote. Now we can go back through here, and, again, this is all the information we've set up. Here's the note, and you can see that we have CNC mail. And so here was that time of 30 minutes. You can see that one piece is going to cost $44.49. If you wonder how that price came about, you can click that information header there, and it'll bring up the calculations used to come up with that. And so it costs $30 to set this piece up, $30.92 to run one piece and with your margin in it. And your margin would be a total of 25% because this margin is on the machines and labor. Plus the 3.5 SG&A. So 28.5 margin. We'll give you the 44.49 for one piece, 5 pieces, 10 pieces, 100 pieces. So now here's your price. Now we said it would be $10 regardless of the quantity. So one piece is $10, 5 pieces $10. And so here's the price of it. So that's your material margin. So that's your SG&A plus your 25% material margin. And then you see you got setup pieces. So we said it takes 3 pieces to set up. We're gonna buy an additional 3 in order to make the part. So at $10 a piece, it's gonna cost an extra $30 in setup cost to buy this for one. It only costs $6 additional per piece if they ordered 5, $3 if they ordered 10, and 30 cents if they ordered 100 because you're ordering an extra 3 pieces. So the $30 spread out over 100 pieces is only 30 cents additional. So here's the runtime or the price for the profile number 1, profile number 2, and the deburr operation. And you can see it breaks down that part there and then it gives you your finals down here. You can click on these numbers here and it'll bring you back to that place on the engineering master. So down here you have your different terms to quote. So if you do net 90, net 60, 50, 45, 30, 15, or due on receipt of 0. So for this, we're gonna say net 30, and so I'll click that. And here is the quote that was generated. You can see that this is the information that we provided in the quote. This is the information about your company setup and the company settings. This is the FOB, and that is set up as the default under the customer, but it also is at the right here, FOB. So if I change that, it would change on the quote here. Then you can see here is the quantity breakdown, part number, revision, description, price each. And so this is the price, that $186.45 is the price of this plus this. Plus this plus this plus this. And so you can see the complete breakdown here. Here's your material cost. Here's all your labor costs. Here's the price. Here's your setup material cost. Here is adding all the money together at $186.45. Here's how much material is in the job. So at $186 for one piece, you have 21% material. And so here's the total material price. So back over here to the quote, you can see this manufacturer's part complete to print came from the quote when we added that note into the information up here, right here. So that's where that came from. So we have how long our quota is set for or good for inside of the company settings, and so that's why it added that the code is valid to July 25th. We chose the net 30 to print a quote, so it says net 30. And then this footer here is set up inside of your company settings. And so that's it. You can print this quote as a PDF and then email it to the customer with their information there. And so that's how to set up a quote inside of the FloorVisio. You can access your quotes at any time. So you can come back and look at this quote, add view quotes, and here's this quote to John's sample. And we can edit and view it, and there it is. And we can also at any time we can come back to the quotes, add a view quotes, and we could add a new quote for the same part, different quantity, to a different person. So we can say it's chain sample. Okay. So we could do that. We could save the quote, change the quantities, and we would see that we would have a different quote up here. We have 2 listed here.